This is Breaking News.
Good afternoon, I'm Christine Johnson.
And I'm Maurice Dubois. We're following breaking news right now concerning that attack with a hatchet that injured 2 NYPD officers in Queens yesterday.
Mayor de Blasio speaking right now. Let's listen in.
The last 24 hours with tremendous capability and professionalism. We had an attack. You'll hear the details from Commissioner Bratton and his team. We had a vicious attack by an individual, obviously very troubled individual, on some of our police officers. Thank God our officers are well trained, understand exactly what to do in each situation, even though 4 of our rookie cops, just months out of the police academy, were the target of this attack. They responded with bravery and they responded with professionalism and neutralized the assailant immediately. But 2 of our officers were hurt, and they are very much on our minds right now. In particular, Officer Kenneth Healy, again a rookie cop, just starting out his career, on the job, serving the people of this city. He was attacked, taken to the hospital, continues to be in critical but stable condition. Commissioner Bratton and I met with Officer Healy's family, expressed our support, our appreciation. They're an extraordinary family with many, many law enforcement professionals among them, and we will stand by Officer Healy and his family for the long run. Officer Joseph Meeker was also injured. Thank God his injuries were less severe. He was treated and released from the hospital. We visited with Officer Meeker and 2 other officers who were at the scene, and those 2 other officers did an extraordinary job, again, in neutralizing the assailant immediately. I've said many times that New York City is blessed to have the finest police force anywhere in the world, and we are blessed to have the finest police leadership anywhere in the world. It shows every single day in how this police force handles challenges in many ways more numerous and difficult than those posed anywhere else, certainly in this country. And this is a day when we appreciate what goes with being a police officer in this environment, in today's reality. The risks, the challenges, the complexity, the fact that our officers show up every single day ready to do their job on behalf of the people of this city, and they do it very, very well. So all I would ask, in addition to the briefing you're going to hear from the Commissioner and his team and our request for the help of the public in finding more information in this instance, I want to ask that everyone's prayers and thoughts be with Officer Healy and his family. We wish him a speedy recovery, and again, we'll be with him every step of the way. And with that, I'd like to turn to our Commissioner, Bill Bratton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are joined at the podium, and they will each speak. Our Chief of Detectives, Bob Boyce, to my left, who will be up immediately after my remarks. John Miller, Deputy Commissioner for our Counterterrorism and Intelligence Bureaus. We also have with us, off to the side, our Chief of Intelligence, Tom Galati, and our Chief of Counterterrorism, Jim Waters, and Chief Joe Herbert, who heads up the New York component of the Joint Terrorism Task Force. I want to echo the Mayor's comments. The exceptional performance of heroic duty by our members yesterday, for those 4 young officers. I've now had the opportunity as part of this investigation to look at the extensive photos and videos of that incident, and in the space of 7 seconds, and that's how long this incident took, 7 seconds, those officers exhibited extraordinary, as the Mayor has used that term, bravery and skill in not only taking down an individual who was intent on killing them, but also rendering first aid immediately to their fallen comrade. As many of you already know, that yesterday afternoon, Thursday afternoon, at the intersection of Jamaica Avenue and 162nd Street in the confines of the 103rd Precinct in Queens, 4 of our uniformed police officers assigned to the 103rd Precinct were the victims of an unprovoked attack. As the officers were standing together, Zale Thompson, a 32-year-old black male, charged at the officers with a hatchet in his hand. The video that we released yesterday is very graphic and depicts quite clearly his intent, and again, the whole incident took all of 7 seconds. The suspect struck 2 officers, one on the head, causing a severe injury to that officer. That's Officer Kenneth Healy, who is at Jamaica Hospital in critical and stable condition, but recovering, but in a great deal of pain. As the suspect continued his assault, the remaining two officers then fired numerous times upon the armed suspect who was charging at them, and he fell to the ground. The suspect was pronounced dead at the scene. A 29-year-old female bystander, half a block away, was accidentally struck by a bullet in her lower back. She is at Jamaica Hospital, also in critical but stable condition. In the last 24 hours, the department has mounted a very significant joint investigation by our Detective Bureau, Counterterrorism and Intelligence Bureaus, and the Joint Terrorism Task Force. They have been working tirelessly overnight, interviewing witnesses and conducting searches, attempting to gather as much information as they can about the suspect, Zale Thompson. And we would appeal to the public today, anybody that has any information about this individual, we would appreciate their contacting us to share that information. We're going through quite a bit of evidentiary materials as a result of search warrants that have been served. And this remains a very active investigation. We are in what I would describe as the preliminary stages, although we are in a position to make preliminary findings. And we are working closely with our partners at the FBI and, as I've already indicated, with the Joint Terrorism Task Force. So a lot more work to be done. And at this point, I would like our Chief of Detectives, Bob Boyce, to give an overview of what we have learned since yesterday and where we are going with the continuing investigation. Bob?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Pursuant to yesterday's attack on the police officer, Queens detectives were able to positively identify Zale Herbert Thompson, this gentleman you see on my left, as the perpetrator of the severe attack on the two police officers. During that assault, this blue hatchet tool was recovered from his person. He was still hanging on to it when he was declared pronounced DOA at the scene. Through the night, we were able to identify different aspects of his life through his fingerprints. We found out that he had 6 prior arrests in Oxnard, California in 2003 and 2004, mostly for a domestic history. He has no New York arrests thus far that we've been able to find. His only NYPD contact was when he was a victim of assault back in 1998 when he was 16 years old. Right now, we find out he was discharged from the military after 3 years in 2003. An involuntary discharge. We're still investigating what happened there as well. Preliminarily, they tell us it was a part of drugs, that he may have been under the influence of drugs there. We did 2 search warrants on the overnight, one at his residence. We were able to speak to family members. The other one at his mother's residence, both in Queens and nearby where the attack occurred. We found that he was a convert to Islam approximately 2 years ago. He is described by family members as a recluse, and by his other family members that he was depressed lately. We got a significant amount of evidence to examine right now. Cell phones, computer towers, laptops, and these 2 items over here to my right, you'll see this recovered from his residence. It's a weaponized axe with both sides as a weapon, and also a very large hunting knife as well. This is where we stand right now in the investigation. We were able to go up on his social media sites as well and found some anti-government postings. We're examining that stuff, that material right now. It's ongoing. My detectives are going through the computers to find other evidence as well. And that's what I have right now. We would encourage anybody who knows this individual to contact the police immediately, help us in our investigation. But that's where we stand right now. We have not uncovered any affiliations with any particular one person or one group as of right now.
Take questions, comments on topic only.
Please, if you have any information, just to the public, was 577-TIPS, our TIPS line. We can tell you if anybody has any contact with this individual at all, we can certainly help put us in the right direction.
Are there any new protocols in terms of police officers walking their beat, staying together?
We have issued a directive to our personnel that officers...
Okay, so we've been listening to Commissioner Bratton and his top brass there at the NYPD describing what happened yesterday in Jamaica, Queens, that wild attack in which this man right here, identified as Zale Thompson, 32, of Queens, took that hatchet and just cracked it over the head of an officer into the arm of another officer. The officers are recovering, one still in critical condition. Prayers are out for him, but an act of bravery on their fellow officers for taking him out so quickly. And they're said today that one of the headlines here is it took all of 7 seconds for this whole thing to go down, and they praise the officers for bravery. But the main question here is, did this Zale Thompson act alone, or does he have any cohorts?
Exactly, and police are asking the public to please give them any information if you know Zale Thompson. They are still conducting their investigation. It is in the early stages as of right now. There is no affiliation that they can find that he had to any organized groups.
So what they are saying is that they know he converted to Islam a couple of years ago. They describe him as a recluse, as one who was depressed. They showed from his home there was a huge axe there, a real full-size axe, not just a hatchet, as well as a large knife. The investigation ongoing. They're looking for more information for the public to come forth. The question, obviously, again, was this guy acting alone? Did he have cohorts? Is this something much bigger than a so-called lone wolf?
Exactly. We'll continue to follow this story. We're also following closely the Ebola situation, and we know that Governor Christie and also Governor Cuomo will be holding a news conference. Now back to the regular programming.
This has been Breaking News.